Well, good morning, everyone. Here we are on Sunday. It's January the 21st, and here in Montreal, it's a relatively mild day. And this is we're well into our fast now, entering into our last week. It'll be nice to get our energy back after the fast. So as we do our reading today in Genesis, it's we have the the histories here of Isaac and Jacob, Esau, and this is a family that really it's full of deceit. We have Laban coming in here as well, and we see what was in Abraham, what was in Isaac. We see it here playing out in Jacob, and we see it in Laban as well, where uh, Jacob really stole everything his brother had, and yes, we can argue that Esau didn't think very much of his birthright, but that was downright deceitful by Jacob's mother, as well as Jacob, to steal Esau's blessing from Isaac. And there's no getting around that. And then what Laban did with Jacob concerning his daughters, again, just downright deceitful. And yet we find in the midst of this, God still being faithful to the promise that he had given to Abraham. And Isaac, when he sent Jacob off, you'd think that Isaac would be really mad at Jacob for the deceit, but he still sent Jacob off with blessing, and he told him that he prayed that he would walk in Abraham's blessing, and that he would be the father of many, which he turned out being. And we see here God's faithfulness. God's faithfulness. God's faithfulness did not depend on the faithfulness of the people. This is a promise that God had given, and he maintained it. In all the deceit and all the imperfection of these people, he still maintained it. And quite often we concern ourselves with perfection, and he didn't tell us to be perfect. He told us to be righteous. And we're supposed to be pursuing righteousness. But in the church, it seems as soon as you become a Christian, you're expected to reach that perfection, and there doesn't seem to be much room there for growing into righteousness, for maturing. And the church is supposed to be a very safe place. It's supposed to be a safe place where mistakes can be made and overcome and forgiven, where people can be taken by the hand and helped and walked along and supported and encouraged, because it's learning, well, deciding to pursue righteousness is taken in a moment, but it's a daily thing that we have to decide. But actually growing in that righteousness it's a lifetime thing. And we learn and we grow, and we need to see signs of growth in us, and we need to see signs of growing maturity in us. And this is what it's supposed to be about. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. That's not saying that's two different points, because the kingdom of God is based on righteousness. It's just emphasizing something that's important in the kingdom of God, which is righteousness, which we are to be pursuing. And sometimes we're really hard on each other, especially on leaders. And leaders are nothing special. Leaders are just part of the body that they've been called to a certain office, and they need to be pursuing righteousness as well. And this expectation of them being perfect is something that really needs to be revisited, reconsidered, and surely that we are loving enough. If our God never gives up on anybody, what are we doing? And the criticism that is thrown at people. But we got to give each other room to grow. We got to give each other room. Because if God is faithful in the wretchedness that we read in the Old Testament, He's just as faithful to those who are pursuing righteousness. He will see each of us to the end. He will give us strength. He will help us. He will guide us. He will teach us. He will bring us along. So if God is willing to do that, who are we to think that we are greater than God? Something to consider. So be blessed in this day as we celebrate, as we worship, as we approach the throne together as a family. And we join our voices with the chorus that's already going up all over the world. And listen, our God is worth it. Our King is worth it. Jesus Christ, who died for us, is worth every effort that we put into coming together to worship and to obey in all these things. So let's be faithful in the little things so He can trust us in the big things. Enjoy your day. God bless.